presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are the Lions.
It's a gorgeous night in Goodyear, Arizona for spring training baseball. Tonight, the Tribe plays host to the Arizona Diamondbacks in Cactus League action. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. A home and home. The Indians were over at Talking Stick playing the Arizona Diamondbacks yesterday. Now the D-backs come here to return the favor. And the Indians are finally back together again as a full unit because back from the WBC, the champion Carlos Santana and the runner-up Mike Aviles.
Yeah, back to full strength. I know Terry Francona will be happy. Santana did a nice job catching in that tournament on the Dominican team. They won the whole thing. And then Mike Aviles is coming back offensively. He was one of the best hitters for Puerto Rico. It's nice to have him back. He will be in there at second base. Santana will be in catching tonight.
All right, now for the Cleveland Indians, Justin Masterson has already been named the Indians' opening day starter. It's the second time in his career he's had that honor. He'll toe the rubber for the Tribe tonight, and he's really pitched well this spring.
Well, one more start to go after tonight, but last start against the Reds, he gave up 5 runs in the first inning. But he found something out, and then he really settled down. He ended up closing that front foot. It made that sinker have natural movement like he does so well. So this spring, he's 2-0, but he wants to finally tune it, get ready for the opening day in Toronto. So he has this start, one more to go. So let's see if he can build on what he learned from his last start.
All right, so it's a perfect Friday night for baseball here in Goodyear, Arizona. We've got fireworks after the ball game and expecting a big crowd tonight for this matchup between the Indians and the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we're back with all the play-by-play action coming up next. Boys in the truck have been working all day on that teaser.
They are in mid-season form, my friends. Love that tune.
Steve Bardo and company pulling out all the stops. Night baseball here in Goodyear, and we're just about ready to get underway as Justin Masterson faces Gerardo Parra of Arizona, and his first pitch in there for, well, I guess it misses, ball one. Looked pretty good. Now a chopper towards first. Nick Swisher backs up on it, and an easy play for out number one. Take a look at Kirk Gibson's starting lineup tonight for Arizona. After Parra, A.J. Pollock is now in center field in the 2-hole. Jason Kubel hits third, then Paul Goldschmidt batting cleanup, followed by Eric Hinsky and Rod Barajas. Then Mark Teahan, Cliff Pennington, and Josh Wilson will hit ninth. Masterson fires.
See if Justin can build on his last start where he felt he found something out with that front foot when he was going directly to the plate. That ball wasn't sinking. He was overthrowing. He closed it up a little bit, and he felt like he was having natural movement. It felt much better coming out of his hand, and that's what he is as a sinker ball pitcher.
As we mentioned in our open, Carlos Santana back with the Tribe, so Masterson hasn't had a chance to work with Carlos really since early in spring camp. Obviously important to try and get on the same page with your catcher, with your opening day starter.
Well, that's the most important thing, is to have him back there working with those starters that are going to get ready to tow it up for the start of the season. Nice slider.
Evens the count at 2-2. Ran it up high with a fastball and a full count.
Yeah, when we talked about Justin Masterson, when he gets that ball anywhere from 89 to 92, 93, it has great movement, and he gets above that mile per hour, then the ball straightens out.
Pretty good looking off speed pitch, but called a ball by Kellen Levy, our home plate umpire, and Pollock draws a walk.
Let's see who's playing behind Masterson tonight. It's the starting outfield of Brantley, Bourne, and Stubbs in the outfield. Chisenhall is at third, Cabrera at short. It'll be Aviles at second, Swisher is at first, and back behind the dish, Carlos Santana.
Santana came up ready to throw, but A.J. Pollock bluffed to move towards second and then put the brakes on. There's Jason Kubel, the former Twin, in left field tonight, batting third. Swung on and missed. The Diamondbacks have a real quandary as opening day is fast approaching now. Kirk Gibson, the two guys they signed to replace the two guys that left, Cody Ross and Adam Eaton, are both sidelined now. Cody Ross is out with a leg injury, and now Adam Eaton has a torn elbow ligament, and they're saying right now he's out anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
That's if he doesn't need surgery. If he does, then he's out for the whole year.
Go figure. You think you have a surplus, and now you have a week to go in camp, and you've got two guys go down. That's bad news for them.
A little bit outside. 2 balls and a strike.
This is one guy they want to get going, and Kirk Gibson said about Jason Kubel, I mean, he's struggling right now to get base hits. He's thinking a lot. He knows he's going to hit once the season starts, but you know, he's not worried being the manager, but he's got to get his confidence going with that guy in the batter's box, Jason Kubel, who's going to really be a big part of it now with the injuries.
Back out of play. Yeah, Chris Young was, I believe he was dealt to Oakland.
Yes, he was.
And then Upton, obviously,
traded
going to Atlanta, so he's reunited with his brother,
right?
B.J. Upton.
We'll get to play them later in the year.
That's right.
At the end of the year, we go down to Atlanta for 3.
Swung on and missed, and Masterson strikes out Jason Kubel for out number 2 here in the first inning.
Well, he comes back and just throws the fastball. He didn't mess around. That looked like a 4-seamer more than the 2-seamer. And there it was. He throws it by Kubel, out number 2. You look at the numbers for Justin this spring. You know, he's 2-0, but the ERA's up there. This is his 5th start. 13 hits in his 12 2/3 innings coming into this one.
He's only had 2 outings in which he's given up runs. He gave up 5 to the Reds in the first inning.
Couple of big home runs.
And then he had a start against the White Sox where he gave up 4 runs. Other than that, he's been scoreless in every other time out.
You know, if Justin can come out, my concern is throw strikes. Pound that strike zone and don't give up any free passes. He had a lot of walks last year. But this guy, it's just so tough to center on the baseball when he's got a good sinker. If they have to hit their way on, they're going to have to earn it. Watch the movement on this pitch. All of a sudden, the bottom just drops out and they swing over the top of it. If you don't give them any free base runners, they're going to have to work their way on. He can be awfully tough, and there's no reason why he can't. I mean, he's a big, strong guy. 2 straight years with over 200 innings. Looking for it again. He's the #1 in this staff.
Runner goes, and Paul Goldschmidt with a weak bouncer to first base, and Nick Swisher retires him to end the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 man left aboard. The Indians are coming to bat when we come back. Bottom of the first inning, the Indians will come to bat against left-hander Patrick Corbin of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And for Terry Francona tonight, Michael Bourne leads it off, then is Drupal Cabrera, followed by Michael Brantley. Nick Swisher hits cleanup, then Carlos Santana and Mark Reynolds. Lonnie Chisenhall, Mike Aviles, and Drew Stubbs.
Patrick Corbin, the left-hander, on the mound, vying for that #5 spot. Made 17 starts last year, 6 and 8 of 454 in his 107 innings. He did strike out 86. 4-pitch mix: fastball, curveball, slider, change.
And a fastball in there for strike 1 to Michael Bourne. Hitting 200 on the spring. Last year with Atlanta, hit 274.
That's what they say this young man can do. Corbin sometimes that front shoulder will fly open, and he has a tough time throwing it to that part of the plate, his glove hand side, because he does fly open a little bit, but he's got good zip on the baseball.
Said he went around. The encouraging thing for the Diamondbacks and Patrick Corbin, as you get another look at Bourne, who couldn't quite hold up. In fact, that as a rookie, he only averaged a shade over 2 walks per 9 innings. So he attacks the strike zone. That's wide of the mark, 2-2. Arizona pitching coach Charles Nagy. Patrick Corbin would appear to be the favorite to win that 5th spot in the rotation, but Randall Delgado, who came over from Atlanta, is also highly thought of, and kind of like the Indians, you know, they got 2 guys battling for that 5th spot. You kind of think it's Kazmir, the left-hander, who's got the inside track, but it's not official yet.
Well, the one thing you do know, and it happens every year to probably mostly every team, when you break camp, that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't stay that way for long. A lot of moves happen through the course of April. You know, whether you have injuries or just make changes, it happens. But it's always nice if you're vying for a spot that you can lead with the team and start the year.
Well, they've already got a left-hander in their rotation, Wade Miley. Bourne bangs it up the middle and into center field. That's a great leadoff at bat for Michael Bourne. He works the count, gets it to 3-2, and winds up with a base hit.
Exactly what I was thinking. You know, you get out there so your teammates can get a good look. He goes through, what, 6, 7, 8 pitches, and it ends up on a good note with a base hit, just putting it on the ground, making contact, and it gets into center field.
Now is Drupal Cabrera.
You know, and you remember a couple of games ago when we talked to Michael Bourne about it, he says, I don't want the hitter to take pitches for me to steal bases. I'll steal them. Don't you worry about it. You go ahead. He wants you as a hitter to be aggressive. And I think if this is the 1-2 combination for a while for Terry Francona, they will get a feel for each other, and as you know, a knack where if they need be, he could give him a sign when he knows he wants to run on a certain pitcher's move. But that's what he's going to have to learn, is pitcher's moves in the American League.
Two quick strikes on as Drupal Cabrera. Since 2008.
Look at that. 257.
I mean, far and away the leader. Draws a throw. Just missing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, Terry Francona has a couple of different ways he can go with his lineup this year too, Rick. He could have a lineup that he uses primarily against left-handers. He could have a different looking lineup when he's got the right-hander on the mound.
Oh yeah, he can pick and choose. You're right. And you know what, left-handers, we're going to have some guys that can play. Michael Brantley, another guy that can play. Lefties don't bother him.
I was thinking against a left-hander normally during the course of the season, you might want Cabrera in the 2-hole to break up Bourne and perhaps Kipnis at the top of your lineup. But against right-handers, maybe you want Cabrera hitting 3rd.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways you can go. A lot of different ways you can go. Sometimes if a guy's not swinging the bat like he can, you can give him a night off against lefties and put in a right-hander. I mean, he's got a number of different options, which is nice for him.
Well, you're right. He has legitimate options off the bench.
And he's got a good feel. He knows his guys. He talks to them. He communicates. He'll know. And he knows how good the pitchers are. And he's got the numbers, the stats. He'll have it all figured out well before it happens.
Bourne aboard to start the game for the Indians here in the bottom of the first. No score. Cabrera with a 2 ball, 2 strike count. And it's a chopper foul up the third base side.
Now they're making him work.
Pitching is something the Arizona Diamondbacks need more of. Last year their ERA over 4.25 among their starters, and that was the highest among teams that were over 500. Hot smash, but right at the second baseman Wilson, who is able to flip it to Pennington, and even though the throw's off the mark, they turn a double play. That's a tough break where you hit it right on the screws, but you hit it right in the tracks of the defender.
Well, not much you can do about it. I mean, he hits it, and that's what the pitcher does. He wants him to hit it, but at one of your players, you have to get down early. Looked like it might have tagged him in the mouth.
Yeah, I think the glove caught him maybe in the mouth or the eye.
Let's see. It's up in, side of the face. You're exactly right. Caught him. That's one of the few times right. It's like a left hook.
The kisser, huh? So 2 down for Michael Brantley, who takes a strike. And again, folks watching this game at home might be thinking, why? Bourne's got all those stolen bases. Why isn't he running there? Well, spring training, he's not thinking about stealing bases and running. He's trying to save his body for the regular season.
They beat you up.
He's watching pitchers' moves, trying to get his timing, but just a bit inside. 2-1 the count.
I will say one thing, just from watching in this first inning from both Masterson and Corbin right now, it's a tiny strike zone tonight. And that doesn't bode well a lot of times when you're playing in Arizona. I see that flags, the wind's blowing out when you have to throw it in the strike zone and get a lot of the plate to get it called.
Popped him back out of play. Well, you get a young umpire, and he's trying to be perfect. Maybe erring on the side of caution.
Well, normally the young umpires have a bigger zone than a smaller one for the ones that I've seen. Hitters will love them. Pitchers won't.
Out of play.
But then again, when you're wearing black down in that field, 50% of the people are going to like you, 50% are going to hate you. Just decide what 50 you want to take.
The 3-2 pitch. And he rings up Michael Brantley to end the inning. So the Tribe gets the leadoff man aboard with a single, but a double play and a strikeout, and we're scoreless after 1. No score, second inning here in Goodyear. Eric Hinsky, Rod Barajas, Mark Teahan coming up for the Arizona Diamondbacks against Justin Masterson. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and let's go down now to the Indians dugout where we are joined by Indians hitting coach Ty Van Berkelio. Ty, thanks for stopping by. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
How's this camp gone for you, getting to know new hitters who have been in the system and new guys who've come from other places?
Oh, it's gone great for me. It's been a real positive atmosphere, and getting to know the new guys and getting relationships. Some of the guys I knew before, but it's been a lot of fun for me.
How helpful is it for you to have veteran hitters in camp like Jason Giambi, like Nick Swisher, so that when you're making a point, they can sort of help to further drive it home?
Yeah, it's always great having the veteran leadership in there, and I think we've got a nice blend with the young guys, and these guys, they look up to these veteran guys and listen to what they have to say, and it does add some validity to what we're talking about.
How nice is it when you have 3 switch hitters in the your 9 spots that you get, they just can't start matching up with you at any point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely have some versatility in our lineup with the switch hitters, and plus the speed and the power mixed in there too.
No question about it. It should be a very fun offense to watch. And Ty, I know you don't put a lot of stock in what happens in spring training, but I was thinking back to the very first game of spring training. I think it was an 11-10 game against the Reds, but we get down early, and this team came right back and put up runs, scored throughout the game. That's something the team had a tough time doing last year, which was sustaining offensive runs. This team looks like it's built to be able to do that on occasion.
Yeah, I think so, and I remember that game clearly too. It was a lot of fun, and I think that's just an important thing, just as far as just group confidence and the team offense, just the ability to know that we can come back. I think it's big during the season, and you have those comeback victories and you can feed off them. But we definitely have the lineup that I think we can sustain some rallies and pass the torch to the next guy.
Fouled off third base side.
Well, the one good thing about it is no one guy or like a 2, 3, and 4 guy have to do it. You have pretty much in each third of your lineup, 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and then 7 through 9. Whether it's somebody that can walk and steal a base or someone that can hit one out of the ballpark, that is a nice mix, a good one to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great blend, and like you say, we're not going to have to lean on 1 or 2 guys every day, and these guys understand that. They can all lean on each other and know that everybody's going to be able to contribute, and it's a real good blend.
Ty, this has been a little longer spring for you guys than normal, and I know it's built around pitching. And a lot of time hitters get a little antsy. They're ready to go. Are your hitters ready to go for the season right now, do you think? I
think they're ready. Definitely ready to go, but they know we've got another week here. But
I know that's the boardom. You can't let them get in.
Yeah, exactly. This last week can be tough. Just maintaining that game intensity and that that game adrenaline. But if we were to break today, I know they'd be physically and mentally ready. But we'll stick it through another week, and we'll be fine.
Ty, from your perspective coming into the organization, I'm sure there were guys that you read scouting reports on, maybe you saw in person at one time or another. But give me some thoughts on some of the guys that maybe you didn't really have a lot of book on, like a Lonnie Chisnall, some of these young players that Indians fans have been waiting on.
Well, as you know, he's been real impressive this spring, and I think he's going to be a great young hitter. And our young guys, they all have so much ability, and like you say, I was not in the league the last 2 years, so I didn't get an opportunity to see those kids firsthand. But I do know some other people that have been in the league, and they all had good things to say about our young players. A lot of raves about Kipnis as well.
Yeah, Chisnall's got some pretty good bat speed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been great.
He's fun to watch.
He really is, and he's just his makeup for a young guy's been outstanding as well. He's really just been consistent all spring, and hasn't tinkered around. He stayed with what he knows is going to work, and I've been real impressed with him.
Good piece of hitting right there by Rod Barajas. Worked a full count, yanked one through the hole on the left side, so he's aboard with 1 out here in the second inning. Ty, Carlos Santana has been a guy who, for one reason or another, they really had to put him in the cleanup spot last couple of years. Really had to, pin a lot of hopes on his bat. If he doesn't have to hit in the middle of the lineup, and for the most part, Terry's hit him in that 5 through 7 spot, how will that, you think, help him as a hitter this year?
Well, I think it takes a lot of pressure off him, and you know, he feels like he can contribute and doesn't have to be the main aircraft carrier in the lineup. But you know, he just got back from the WBC, and obviously had a great WBC, and you know, their team, you know, had a lot of fun. But just looking at his at-bats during that, he really looked like he was in good mid-season form. You know, he just his swing really looked good, the at-bats that I saw.
Ty, how much do you talk to hitters and work with hitters when they're in a funk, and how much do you just kind of back away and let them sort of figure it out for themselves?
Well, I think you back away when, you know, they're feeling it more. When they're in a funk, you just, you know, you talk to them and try to get them, you know, if I see something, I'm gonna tell them what I see right away. But you know, you don't want to let it manifest. But I think just as far as a daily routine and getting in there, maintaining their swings every day, I think is important, so that they can stay in that groove and not ever get to the point where we're really having to try to break some bad habits that have been created.
That's going to bring up Cliff Pennington now with 2 on and 1 out here in the second inning for Arizona. We're talking with Indians hitting coach Ty Van Berkeley. All right, we want to talk about August 16th, 1993. Bill Gullickson. Your lone major league home run came off of the Detroit right-hander.
Yeah, I think I blacked out.
Now, was that at the Big A, or was that in Detroit?
No, it was at the Big A.
Not exactly an easy place to go yard.
Ball doesn't carry there at night. Yeah. That's right.
No, I think I knew him from Japan. We both had played in Japan, and he was actually in the other league in Japan. I was in the Pacific League. He was in the Central League. So I think he felt sorry for me, so he just gave me something I could hit out.
You know, how did those experiences help you, not as a player necessarily, but as a coach, knowing how hard this game is to play, how hard it is not just to get to the big leagues, but to stick here as well?
Well, I think all my experiences, both, you know, you deal with failure, and I think you learn from failure more than you do success. Success is more for the pleasure, but you know, having those toils, I think, definitely helped me a lot as a coach, and you know, having that compassion and you know, having an understanding. You know, if it was easy for me to hit my whole career, you know, I wouldn't have really learned as much as I have about hitting.
Well, I know a hitting coach's job is awfully tough. You have to study 12 to 13 players or hitters every day, and you got to work with them all, and their psyche is probably the #1 thing you have to deal with, and keep them in a positive frame of mind, isn't it?
Absolutely. This game, it can beat you down if you let it, and you know, I think there's the ability for the good players to be able to put that confidence ahead of the success is really important in this game, and I think that's what the great ones do, and it's hard to do. You know, it's something that you really got to work on the mental side as well as the physical side.
Well, I know one thing. I'm glad we're in our park tonight, so we have the DH hitting tonight, because you were working with Carlos Carrasco yesterday. He never took the bat off his shoulder. I'm kidding.
I know, not even a sack bunt.
I know. Right. I was thinking at least let him lay one down, Terry. Come on, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
I know it. I was just, it's nice to have the DH. You get used to the American League, you know, and, you know, you just get used to it. You're not used to seeing the pitchers hit.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a lot of fun having that extra hitter in there.
Ty, before we let you go, as Josh Wilson steps in with the bases loaded and 1 out, how many different lineup combinations have you and Terry Francona gone through, or is that something he takes all to himself as far as the lineup goes, or how close is it to being sort of set in stone?
Well, I think with the you know, with our club, I think he does have a lot of different options and different ways he can go, and you know, he can put guys in and take guys out and let them give them a break, and you know, keep guys fresh. There's a lot of versatility in on our roster. So I think he'll have a lot of options, but I think there'll be some consistency as well. But he definitely can move pieces around and really not lose a lot.
Chopper to short. Cabrera can't get it. It gets by him. And 2 runs will come home for Arizona. Tried to short hop that ball, did Cabrera, and it skipped past him. And the Diamondbacks lead it 2-0.
Not quite sure if he came in and might have taken his eye off the ball. I don't know if he wanted to just go to first base with it. It was a high hop. He comes in, and I thought he was going to get to it. And it was just an in-between hop. He gets underneath his glove, goes into left field, and 2 will score. So they have first and third, and now Justin could use a double play ball.
Well, Ty, we thank you for stopping by. Appreciate your thoughts and look forward to this season. Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys, thanks.
That's Indians hitting coach Ty Van Berkelio. Meanwhile, the Indians have given up a couple of runs here. First and third for Masterson with 1 out. And Gerardo Parra thinking about a bunt, but it's fouled back. Now, I think Ty certainly has the right frame of mind, the right approach, and like he said, I think of Charlie Manuel, who played in Japan, who toiled for many years in the minor leagues, was a guy who loved the game and studied hitting, but was never an everyday star at the big league level. And you have that compassion, but you have the same passion for the game that everybody else does.
It's a tough job. I mean, you're out there, you're working with like 12, 13 different guys a day, and really you have to keep them positive. So you're almost like a psychologist. You got to know what makes them tick, and what some guys may need to be kicked in the butt a little bit, or and disciplined a little bit. Other guys you got to stroke.
Yeah, you
got to make them feel good. I mean, it's it's like a school teacher teaching kids. But deep down, the kids have to know what they're doing, and they do. And when they're all going well and firing on all cylinders, it's fun to be around.
That was an error charged to Cabrera, by the way.
Oh, it was.
At least that's what's on the board, so I'm assuming that was the call.
Then Murph's in midseason form. He gave me hit. Murph's all ready to go.
With Pennington at third base, Josh Wilson at first with 1 out. Parra grounded out to first baseman Nick Swisher in the first inning.
Well, Justin liked to get a ground ball hit at one of his middle infielders, and this is good. They can't get on the same page, so let's go talk about it. This is what we're talking about when you want Santana in camp, working with your starters. And in a situation like this, let's get on the same page, boys. When they get going this year, it should be automatic. The thought process, these two working together. 0-2 count. Justin wanted to throw one pitch, and I think Santana was putting another one down. So that's exactly what we're talking about with having the catcher in camp working with your starters. Yeah, he's not going to get a double play.
Swisher looked to second.
That's a good play.
Gets to the bag in time to retire the hitter. But Parra does pick up an RBI, and it's 3-0 Arizona.
That's a really good play there by both Swisher and Justin Masterson, because he made a good pitch and he tops it. So now Swisher wanted to go to second base, but realized he couldn't get the out. And then Masterson didn't give up. He continued to go to first base. And then Swisher stayed with it, flips it over to him. Not an easy play, but well done, even though they score a run on the play.
So with 2 down, A.J. Pollock the batter, walked his first time up. It was hard to tell if Swisher didn't like the angle based on where the runner was, or if he just didn't have a real good grip on the ball.
He obviously felt he couldn't get him, whether it was the grip or whatever. He knew he still had time if Masterson got over to first base and did his job, and he made the throw behind him. He just felt he wasn't going to get the lead runner at second base, and that was his easier play.
Key is he got an out.
Right.
That situation, right. You must get an out.
2 down.
2 down, Justin Chance to get out of the inning now. A.J. Pollock walked his first time up. Long second inning, though, for Masterson. Hit the center off the end of the bat. Bourne, a long run in. He makes the catch to end the inning. But the Arizona Diamondbacks jump on the Indians for a 3 spot. They lead it 3-0. The Arizona Diamondbacks have jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Nick Swisher, Carlos Santana, and Mark Reynolds due up for the Indians. After Corbin gave up a leadoff single in the first, but got a double play ball to short circuit a potential Tribe rally. Nick Swisher was in right field yesterday over at Talking Stick against these Diamondbacks. Tonight back at first base.
And did a nice job in right field.
Sure did.
Made a couple of nice plays, and he says, look, they put me in the outfield and the first ball gets hit right to him just as a tester. And he knows, but he can't hide on that field. It's a good changeup.
1 ball, 1 strike. I think Nick liked it. Corbin with the 1-2, and that's strike 3 called. Second strikeout for the Arizona left-hander. 1 down here in the second.
Well, let's check out that D-backs defense behind Corbin this evening. It's Kubel in left, Pollock in center, Parra in right. Tian at third, Pennington at short, Wilson is at second, Goldsmith at first, Barajas doing the catching.
Carlos Santana. Now very successful WBC for the Indians backstop. Catcher for the Dominican Republic as they won the WBC championship. Kellen Levy behind the plate tonight, the young umpire. Back out of play. the ground with the second baseman, Josh Wilson. He fumbles it, but he recovers in time to throw out Santana. 2 down.
Well, that ball stays down. Just get a little anxious. The ball came up on him a little bit. But you don't panic. Stay with it. Throw him out.
Patrick Corbin goes 6'2", 190 pounds. Grew up not far from Syracuse, New York. Basketball was his first love. And believe it or not, at just 6'2", he can dunk a basketball from a standstill.
Oh, yeah?
So he has some hops, as they say. I'll bet you could do that back in the old days.
Back in the day, yeah. I don't know if I could jump over a dollar bill now.
Oh, I've seen you do that. The Indians go 1-2-3, and we've played 2 innings in Goodyear with the Arizona Diamondbacks leading 3-0.
Well, you can join us for all the excitement at Progressive Field with a 2013 season ticket package. Season tickets give you access to the best seats at the lowest prices. And with a full season ticket package, you are guaranteed to be there for opening day, April 8th, against the Yanks. Log on to Indians.com if you would like more information.
Welcome back to Goodyear, where the Indians and the Diamondbacks locked up here tonight. 3rd inning, Arizona with a 3-0 lead. Big crowd on hand. We'll have fireworks after the ball game. Expecting a crowd of around 8,000 tonight. And in between innings, the Cancer Treatment Centers of America had a ceremony where Michelle Hastings got to have a trip around the bases and saluted by both clubs on down each baseline. Well, the Indians will break camp next Saturday. They'll head north of the border and open the season Tuesday, April 2nd in Toronto. 3 against the Blue Jays at the Rogers Center. And then they fly south to St. Pete to take on the Rays for 3. And then right home, no off days, 4 with the Yankees, 3 more with the White Sox. Then their first off day of the season on the 15th before the Red Sox come to town to close out that first monster homestand of the season. And then they'll hit the road to end the month to Houston. I don't remember an opening homestand
That might be our longest homestand of the year right there, and that's our very first one. But, you know, you take it when you can get it.
New York, Boston, and the White Sox.
Hello.
That's first
a
Marty
month
homestand to start the year.
Well, you got a tough schedule the first few weeks. They better be ready.
Justin Masterson making his warm-up tosses, of course, will be the Indians' opening day starter in Toronto against R.A. Dickey, who I believe was already named the opening day starter for the Blue Jays, the knuckleballer.
Well, if anybody, I think the Blue Jays made more moves or more action, and everybody looking at that team than anybody, I think, in the offseason. You know, if you want to talk about
manager,
you know, winning, you know, the publications or the sports media
award.
Yeah, right. I guess you could say that. But they have a lot of expectations now.
Brought John Gibbons back to be the manager in Toronto after John Farrell was traded.
How about that?
To Boston to become their new manager.
That's right. And we got one of the guys traded for John Farrell, Mike Aviles, who came to Cleveland, and he was traded from Boston to Toronto.
Jason Kubel struck out his first time up. Big swing and a miss. I mean, you have to feel good for John Gibbons to get the opportunity to go back and manage again in Toronto. But, man, he goes back in there with ridiculously high expectations. Swung out and missed. Masterson just rearing back, throwing it by him, 1-2. But where the Blue Jays will be very good, at least on paper, is that starting rotation should be pretty stout. And they've got different arms to come at you with, you know, the crafty left-hander Burley. They've got Ricky Romero. You've got Josh Johnson now, former Marlins flamethrower. And
remember now, they still need a closer. You know, and that's one thing that I don't know if it's set in stone yet who they have. Remember, Santos was there,
was the guy
but he was hurt. He had surgery last year and missed last year. Well, they should be a much better ball club. Not even to mention Batista and Encarnacion. Second time he's been able to get Jason Kubel. Went upstairs with the fastball above the belt. Left-handers like the ball down, and especially Jason Kubel.
you know who else we might see in that first series? Esmail Rogers.
Yeah, coming out of the bullpen. That's true.
Pitched well for the Indians out of the bullpen a season ago. Now part of that Toronto pen. Paul Goldschmidt bounced to first his first time up. Monty Chisenhall cuts it off in the hole and throws it out. 2 down. Tonight on FoxSportsOhio.com, full coverage of Ohio State basketball. Are the Cleveland Browns getting kickalicious? And the latest from the Ohio High School Boys Basketball Championships. Get complete coverage of all today's action involving Ohio sports all day and night on FoxSportsOhio.com. I don't write them, I just read them.
Yes, you did. I saw you and Murph spending all night writing that. Kickalicious.
Yeah. Swung out and missed by Eric Hinsky. Big bouncer to first. Swisher waits back on it. Now charges to the bag. And the D-backs go 1-2-3. We'll go to the last half of the third. 3-0 Arizona. Arizona Diamondbacks lead it 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the third here in Goodyear. Beautiful day here in the valley and a gorgeous evening.
Well, this is our first night game, first game we've televised out here at night. Very nice, good crowd.
Pitch up high, ball one to Lonnie Chisenhall, who's hitting .405 on the spring with 4 home runs, a dozen runs driven in, and he has doubled 4 times as well. Takes a strike over the outside corner from Patrick Corbin. A little bit inside, not by much. And it's 2-1. Good pitch that time. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chisenhall leading off the bottom of the third. The Indians got their leadoff man aboard to start the game. Since then, Corbin has retired every Indians hitter. So he's making a strong bid here late in the spring to nail down that 5th spot in the Arizona starting rotation.
Well, he has. We've seen him mix it up a little bit. The Swisher, he didn't see a fastball. It was change-ups and a curveball, and he put him away. There's another good breaking ball, and Chisenhall battles and fouls it off. The only thing here was upstairs a little bit. That's one where you want to get down out of the strike zone if you can. That's why Lonnie was able to get a piece of it.
Up high with the heater and a full count. Mike Aviles waiting on deck, just back from the WBC like Carlos Santana.
Boy, foul off those pitches until you get something you like. Until hopefully he makes a mistake and you can put one in play.
Ball 4, and Chisenhall draws a leadoff walk. It was very close.
Well, it was a good at bat anyway. I mean, even if that was called a strike, it was a good at bat. He made him work. It was a pretty tough pitch to lay off, but everything before that pitch, it might have been down a little bit, was upstairs. He finally got that one down, and then Chisenhall didn't bite after it because everything else was up in the zone. So that was a really good at bat by Lonnie.
Here now, Mike Aviles batting 8th. Aviles played for Team Puerto Rico in the WBC, and they fell to the Dominican Republic in the championship game out in San Francisco. Terry Francona will try and find at bats for Mike Aviles this year, in addition to the normal chores of pinch hitting late in the game in a key spot here or there, but he'll try to get him.
He will get a lot of
base,
at-bats.
at second base, at shortstop occasionally.
As you well know, in the American League, it's tough to get consistent pinch hit appearances during the course of a week. He will get starts, whether it's second, short, third, outfield against left-handers. He's going to get it to see his share. You can see 280. That's the most he's played is at shortstop. He can play third, and even in the outfield, you can throw him in there. He's not going to hurt you for a game. But he swings a pretty good bat.
Pop back into the seats. And the count 0-2. Drew Stubbs waiting on deck with Chisenhall taking his lead at first, held there by Paul Goldschmidt. Corbin misses up and away. Drew Stubbs, the number 9 hitter.
Yes, he did. That was a good pitch.
Just couldn't help himself. Third strikeout for Corbin. 1 down in the inning.
Very good breaking ball. And once he started, he committed. He couldn't hold up. Excellent spot out of the zone. He sees it coming in, and when he can get that ball down, he's going to be tough to hit. He makes some mistakes upstairs, but boy, when he gets it down there, he's tough.
Now here is Drew Stubbs. I think, Rick, it will be of interest to watch this year if hitting in the bottom part of the lineup as opposed to batting leadoff as he did a season ago with Cincinnati will help him have more success at the plate.
Well, the scouts are going to say the same thing. They're going to have their reports, how you pitch them and how you go about doing it, and I don't think that's going to change. You know, people felt maybe a change of scenery for him would help, but he likes Cincinnati. But this guy, you look at him, he's a terrific athlete. He has speed. His problem has been swinging and missing. If he can make a little more consistent contact and utilize that speed, he could certainly help the top part of this lineup. When you got a guy like this that can run and also steal bases, you talk about Bourne, this guy can steal. He's a good outfielder. He can cover some ground. Boy, you just hope he can hit for a little better average.
Well, it's 3-0 here with Bourne on deck. And he walked him on 4 straight.
Didn't even have to swing it.
2 walks in the inning.
Well, single game tickets on sale for this year, and you can buy early and save on seats for 4 replica jersey giveaways throughout this year. Jason Kipnis will have a night, Michael Brantley also, to go along with Nick Swisher and Michael Bourne. So go on to Indians.com promotions, and you can see the full schedule.
Michael Bourne had a terrific at bat his first time up. Worked the count full. Fouled some pitches off and then wrapped one right back up the middle. Now bats with 2 on and 1 out here in the third. Tribe down 3-0. And the left-hander Corbin misses wide of the mark. Martin, the third baseman, is actually playing a step or 2 deep of the bag at third. Bourne fooled badly on that breaking ball.
All right, you step out and you refocus. Here's another good breaking ball down. Starts it out low, it bounces. You can see where Barajas does a nice job keeping it in front. The runners have to stay put. But that's only strike 1. You just come back and regroup.
Dropped one in that time, and now he's ahead of ball and 2 strikes. Missed up and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
See if Michael can get another one up in the zone for him.
Big hole on the left side. Trying to shoot it that way, but fine.
You know, he fouled off a couple good pitches in his first at bat before he was able to get one through up the middle. That's what he wants to do, shoot it the other way. You want to stay away from the middle part of the field here in a double play situation. Lefty on lefty.
Close, but a little bit outside on a full count.
Yeah, he was focused. After he swung at that first one, that let him know, okay, I saw the breaking ball low. I'm not going to chase that one again with strike 1. That one was even a better one. This one didn't go down and bounce in the dirt.
Right.
But he saw it the first strike, and he was able to readjust and change his mind and lay off that pitch.
2 on, 1 out. The payoff pitch to Bourne. No dice as Corbin looks to second base but does not fire. Chisenhall, the runner there. Drew Stubbs, who can fly, is at first.
Well, you figure, you know, they wanted to try that spin move to think they're going to be running, but with a left-hander, you could strike them out, throw them out. They won't run here.
Breaking ball, strike 3 call.
He made his pitch. Tip your cap. Now Corbin comes back with a good breaking ball for a strike. And then he locked Bourne up. Michael was looking fastball all the way. He gave him the breaking ball, and at the big league level, if you throw it for a strike, you can get the strikeout, and he knows it. Bourne knows it. Tip your cap.
So 2 down. Runner still at first and second. And Asdrubal Cabrera, who hit the ball hard his first time up, and he hit it right at Josh Wilson, who turned it into a double play.
Well, this is where Cabrera has been a very good hitter with 2 outs, runners in scoring position.
Wrapped it foul. A little bit out in front of that one. Corbin does a nice job changing speeds.
He's got a good mix out there, and I'll tell you what I like. Barajas behind the plate, the veteran, you know, trying to make this club as a backup, has done a nice job handling this young pitcher. He is not letting him fall into any pattern. He's working him very well. He's got his fastballs up, the breaking balls down. He's doing a good job. See, he's slowing him down, taking his time. He's not letting him rush.
In off the plate to even the count.
See, Barajas been around long enough to know the slower sometimes the better when you get guys anxious that want to drive in that run from second base. Called the changeup there. He has thrown a lot of pitches this inning, but he's been able to escape damage to this point with the 2 walks. He's got 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and gone deep into the counts with the strikeouts.
Missed inside. Last year, Asdrubal Cabrera batted .300 with runners on base. Down low. Showing a very patient eye here. 3-1 to count.
He got aggressive on the first pitch, on the off-speed pitch, thinking he was going to jump on him early, but Now he's settled in and he's been patient. Can he remain patient now, 3-1? And will they give in and just throw him a fastball here? That'll be interesting to see. Sooner or later, you got to throw a fastball.
Up high, he missed ball 4, and the bases are loaded now for Michael Brantley. All 3 base runners via the walk. The other 2 hitters in the inning were strikeout victims. So it's been all or nothing for Patrick Corbin.
Well, now he's got to come at Brantley.
Here comes Kirk Gibson, not Charles Nagy, and you know why he's going out there.
Sure. He's the one that wants to deliver his own message. Look, you're okay here. Don't try and be too fine. Let's get out there. And
he's probably telling him, look, your stuff's good enough. You have 2 strikeouts in the inning. You've retired 2 good hitters.
It's a pep talk as also trying to let him know, let's go. Yeah, I think you're right. He has good enough stuff. You don't have to nibble. But now as a hitter, if you're Michael Brantley now, you want to sit back and look for that first pitch strike. I know Michael's a patient hitter, and a lot of times you don't see him go after that first pitch, but I'll be looking for a fastball down the middle right here if I'm him. Take the breaking ball, look for that heater.
Right back up the middle into center field. Scoring is Chisenhall. Here comes Stubbs. He scores without a throw. And Michael Brantley delivers the Indians' first 2 runs of the game with a 2-out, 2-run single here in the 3rd.
Boy, it's like licking your chops. You see the manager go out there and talk to him. You know what he's saying. He wants you to be a little more aggressive. And Brantley did just that, man. He was sitting there waiting and said, let me get my fastball. He got a fastball up in the zone, and he took it right back up the middle. Didn't overswing, didn't try and hit it out of the ballpark. Just kept the rally going. Takes the base hit. The Indians get a pair. It's a 3-2 ball game now, and you move the train along, and you give Swish a chance. Good job.
Swisher out on strikes his first time up. And that fastball caught the inside corner. That's only the 2nd hit of the night for the Indians. Their first one came from Michael Bourne to start the game. But the 3 walks here in the inning have set it up for the Tribe. Swisher taking down low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Boy, they made him pay in the inning. He was his own worst enemy, walking the 3 guys, and it was 1 pitch that Brantley took advantage of. And he left some pitches up in the zone. But it was the only hit so far in the inning, and only the 2nd one of the game.
First time up, Nick Swisher was not on the same page with home plate umpire Kellen Levy. Cabrera takes off for 3rd, and Corbin able to get him.
Where's he going?
Looked like Cabrera thought he was going to catch Corbin napping, but Martin able to get to the bag and tag him out. So the rally is diffused, but the Indians get a pair, and it's 3-2 Arizona through 3. Cowboy Wahoo.
Oh, he's always out here when we have fantasy camp, man. You remember him on the back porch with his young daughter? He comes out. He's a huge Indians fan. Nice man.
Well, it's a 3-2 ball game now as the Indians pick up a pair in the bottom half of the third. And as we go to the fourth, Rod Barajas, Mark T, and Cliff Pennington do up. Justin Masterson allowed 3 runs in the second. He's given up a couple of singles. He's walked 2, struck out 3.
Barajas had a very good at-bat his first time up. Any right-hander that battles Masterson, falls off some pitches, and ends up getting a base hit, earns it.
Rip foul. Lays off. Foul, look out. Swung on and missed. Barajas really went fishing. And that's 4 strikeouts now for Masterson, who has set down 6 in a row.
Well, he went inside a couple of times, then throws that slider away and got him to wave at it for the strikeout. Get him looking in, put him down away.
Mark Tien, a single and a run scored his first time up. And that breaks up a string of 6 in a row retired by Justin Masterson, and a 1-out base runner for Arizona here in the fourth now.
Follow the Tribe with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, or Android. You get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Indians.com for the details.
Now Cliff Pennington, who looks at ball 1 outside. Pennington walked and scored in the second inning. Right down Broadway, takes it for a strike, 1-1. Nice pick at first base by Nick Swisher as Masterson's throw was in the dirt.
I'm surprised they don't throw that ball out and give him a new one. He has to come up and scoop it. Anytime it goes into the dirt at home plate, they throw it out.
Rookie umpire.
Well, I'm surprised the hitter didn't call for it.
Pennington lifts one to left. Routine play for Michael Brantley. 2 down. With 2 down and a runner at first, Josh Wilson to the plate. He reached on a error by Asdrubal Cabrera in the second. And that was the inning that really took its toll on Masterson. Gave up a couple of hits in the inning, but then the error. He also walked a batter.
You know, those are the innings you have to try and minimize. You know, those big number innings, the 30-pitch innings. But, you know, that was the only problem. And you're right. It was an error in the inning that kept it going. Sometimes that happens. You always hate to have it happen early in a ball game because that takes you away from the 7th inning a lot of times. You know, as a starter.
Yeah.
Doesn't let you get into that 7th inning, and that's what you should shoot for, at least.
Wilson able to lay off, and it's 2-1. Well, as we come down the stretch here, Justin will have one more start, and each starting pitcher is just about stretched out to that 100 pitch mark. That's where they're shooting for, to be there by opening day. Masterson, you see there at 75 so far on the game and 46 strikes. So pretty good ratio. Chopper towards third. Do or die play for Chisenhall, and he slings it over, but Swisher can't knock it down. Coming around third, Tian will score all the way from first. And so the errant throw allows Arizona to add a run to their lead. It's now 4-2 D-backs.
What is it with Wilson? I mean, he comes up, the errors all over the place. When he hits, he topped another ball. Chisenhall made a nice scoop on the dead run. He just got off a throw that was not on line. And Swisher, you know, let's take a look at it. Tries to come off and pick that ball, and it gets by him. That was a nice pick, and the ball's offline. Swisher tried to go back and just get it in the glove and stay on the base. Goes off the end of his glove, and there's so much room down there. Tians are able to come around and score. So another error will give another run to the D-backs.
And that's hammered to right field.
Make it 2.
Wilson will score as it goes to the wall. Parra into second base with a 2-out RBI double, and it's 5-2 Arizona. Give Parra his second RBI of the night, 14 on the spring.
Go, Tribe, one more out. 90 seconds.
That was a nothing fastball that stayed up in the plate, and Parra took advantage of it and drilled it down into the corner for a double. So they take advantage of the error. Extra outs always come back to haunt you, and they do again.
Now A.J. Pollock flied to center his last time up. A little bit outside for ball 1.
Oh, they're not there.
5 runs on 4 hits now for Arizona. 2 of those hits in the second, 2 more here in the fourth. Another high chopper, but foul. So a couple of errors defensively tonight have aided the cause of the D-backs. Chisenhall with a wild throw. Cabrera mishandling a short hop. And it's hard to tell too on that, the angle we had on the replay, Rick. The throw by Chisenhall on the angle anyway, it didn't look as bad on the throw.
No, it's just that Nick tried to stay on the base and go over there and pick it, and he was going away from the throw. He wasn't going into it. You know what I mean? When you're going to the ball, it's a little easier to play. When you're going away from it, it's a defensive play. The throw was past the base, so he's going out there to step and then still try to get it. He could reach it. It wasn't out of his reach. It's just that the angle at his glove, it was just a weird angle. Wasn't that bad of a throw.
Slider, strike 3, got him. That ends the inning, but not before the Diamondbacks get a pair here in the 4th, and they now lead it 5-2. Arizona now leading Cleveland 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Nick Swisher will be the batter. Carlos Santana, Mark Reynolds to follow.
Yeah, Swisher was at bat when Cabrera took off at second base.
Let's go back and talk about that. That's definitely not a good play when you've got your 4th hitter at the plate.
You're in scoring position. It's not a good play anytime.
Teeing from deep in the hole. Can't get Swisher.
Well, that'll go as a base hit for Swish. Now, anytime you've got a guy that can drive you in from second base, there's no sense taking off. You got something going. He had 3 walks. They had just got the base hit to score in the inning, and they get themselves out of it. They take themselves out of it. All right, so you get a base runner. Teehan going to his backhand, coming up, throw a little high, but Swish would have beat it anyway. Would have been a bang-bang play at first base.
Now Carlos Santana, who bounced to second his first time up. Now this is a high view, and it looked like Cabrera was just trying to time him up.
Yeah, but where are you going? There's 2 outs. You're in scoring position, and you've got your 4th hitter up. There's no reason for that. I understand. I thought he was going to go home, but you don't make the 3rd out at third base. Well, if you have to do it here. Get it out of your system.
Big chopper off the plate. Pennington goes to second. There's one, and they turn the double play.
That hurt down there at second base. Looked like he hit second base pretty hard going in there. It's one thing you have to watch as a second baseman. You can use the bag to protect you on a ball like that. That's not hit real hard where you can get it instead of just coming across the base. You can step behind the base here on a high hopper like that and watch where he has to slide right into the base.
Oh,
yeah.
Hit it hard with
I'm
his
telling
knee.
you, those bags are hard. That had to hurt.
He hit that with his knee, and it
that's no fun.
vaulted him into the air.
That does not feel good.
Second double play turn by the Diamondbacks infield tonight. Mark Reynolds looks at the ball inside, 1-1 to count. Reynolds a ground out his first time up. Down in the dirt. Swung on and missed, 2-2. Popped him straight up behind the plate. Barajas. And the inning is over. 4 complete from Goodyear. It's the Diamondbacks 5 and the Indians 2. Five-2 Diamondbacks as we go now to the 5th inning. Jason Kubel, Paul Goldschmidt, and Eric Hinsky will bat for Arizona. Justin Masterson gave up 3 runs in the second, 2 more in the fourth. He worked a scoreless first and a scoreless third. Jason Kubel has struck out twice, and he looks at a strike.
Well, he was able to get 2 fastball by him in his first 2 at bats and started him off breaking ball. And then Kubel was ready for that one there.
In his first season with the Diamondbacks, Kubel dealt at 30 homers. He drove in 90 runs. And he also had 14 assists in the outfield. Perhaps because teams are saying, let's run on, let's try to run on this guy.
No question.
And he was equal to the task, but he strikes out for the 3rd time tonight.
Hat trick.
That's a half dozen Ks now for Masterson.
It's the breaking ball this time. It's down and in. Great pitch. Actually, it wasn't inside. It was just something off his fastball.
Paul Goldschmidt has grounded out twice. The Indians swing their infield around. Infield on the right side. Nick Swisher, he's a good 40 feet off the line.
Yeah, trying to take that hole away from him between first and second. So if that ball is on the ground, he's got to bust it to get back there. If it goes to the left side.
Good point.
This is a young man with good power to all parts of the ballpark. He just doesn't sit up there for a young player and try and pull everything. He can hit him out in the right center.
Draws a walk. One out base runner. Third walk allowed by Masterson tonight.
Single game tickets on sale for this year. You can buy early and save on seats for bobbleheads for two of the all-time favorite tribesmen. Albert Bell will have a bobblehead on June 1st, and Omar Vizquel, his will be July 8th. It is presented by Key Bank, so be nice to see you out to the ballpark.
Pitch is down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eric Hinsky 0 for 2. Jerry Gill is now loosening in the Indians bullpen. Up and away. 2-1. Steve Sachs went to the deck and rolled to get out of the way.
Look at that. You look at the eyes. Look at Sam. He's okay, but I guarantee his heart rate went up. Look at that. He is fired up. Look at these guys are laughing, but I'm telling you, you had to hit the deck. Gibson's laughing. Trammell's sitting over there. You watch when he gets in at the end of the inning.
Hinsky strikes out. Quick tag at first, not in time. 2 down. 7 strikeouts for Masterson.
Watch this. You want to talk about having to be able to pay attention. I mean, a ball, it takes a split second over the head of Steve Sachs. He went down and rolled.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, and he's probably back to normal by now, but those guys won't let him forget it when he walks in there after the inning. Stop, drop, and roll is exactly what he did. There's a 5-alarmer there.
Broken bat. Ball to left field. Brantley makes the play. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It remains 5-2 D-backs. Steve Sachs got low bridged by that foul ball.
There's Alan Trammell coming in there. They're all coming over to ask him how he got out of the way. They are.
Is that Turner Ward right there, Rick, on the right?
Yeah, it is. It sure is. The assistant hitting coach over there under Don Baylor. Trammell, Turner Ward. Oh, man. Matt Williams came over and had a good lap with him. Of course, he coaches third, and you know how fast he gets there.
Bottom third of the Indians order due up here in the home half of the fifth. Lonnie Chisenhall, Mike Aviles, and Drew Stubbs. Patrick Corbin fires it by him, strike one.
Lonnie with a good at bat back in the third inning. He got it going with the walk. Had a 3-2 count, fouled off some pitches, and took an awfully close one for ball 4.
That bout of wildness allowed the Indians to get to Corbin for their only 2 runs of the night. Walked 3 in the inning.
Yes.
And Brantley made him pay with a 2-out, 2-run single.
Then they let him off the hook. Cabrera did.
Good looking pitch, but called a ball. 2-1. And Lonnie swings through it. 2-2 the count. Up high and a full count. Mike Aviles waiting next. High pop. Foul territory and a sliding catch made by Cliff Pennington.
Really nice.
Great hustle.
I mean, that ball comes back a little bit, but that he was the only guy that was going to be able to get there. It stayed in play. Makes a nice sliding catch to put it away. Watch how far he has to go to get this ball. He gets it on the grass. Tien's out of it. He called him off. Easier play for the shortstop because he can time it. You can see he's calling for it right now. Tien gets out of the way. Nice running catch. Did he have 2 feet in? That's what we got to go check. Go on to the replay and see.
Did he have control of the ball?
Yeah, 2 feet down before he slid through the zone.
Mike Aviles struck out his first and only time up. Wrap foul out of play to the right. There'll be a scrum for that one.
Well, there's a lot of young kids that go out there and play during the game down the right field corner.
Aviles, hard hit ball to third. Tien spins around and throws, and he got him by a whisker. 2 down.
Tien ranging to his left. Turns, spins around, makes a throw just in time to get Aviles. Just had enough on it. Goldsmith has to go out and make a nice play. Well, we used to see Tien over there at third base with Kansas City, if you remember. Then he went from there, signed with the White Sox, and then has really moved around. And doesn't look real comfortable over there at third, does he?
No, I think he's probably a guy that they moved to the infield or wanted to play in the infield because they had that so-called surplus of outfielders.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and it always seemed to find you when you're not feeling comfortable, and he just doesn't look comfortable out there, and now he gets a backhanded chance, and he boots it.
I wonder, Rick, if with this latest injury that they've suffered to Adam Eaton, who, if you missed it earlier, is now going to be out at least 2 months with a tear in his elbow. Right now they don't think he'll need surgery. But would they consider maybe putting Tian back into the outfield mix?
Well, who knows? They may want to get him off third right about now.
Stubbs, the speedster at first with Michael Bourne at the plate. One thing is for certain, Mark Tian's old club, the Kansas City Royals, have loaded up this year. I mean, I think they feel like this is a year they've got to make a move. Not necessarily are they thinking they've got to win it, but they've got to make a move. They've got to be a contender. They went out and really bolstered their starting rotation, adding James Shields, Jeremy Guthrie, Irvin Santana.
Well, and they put Luke O'Shaver in the bullpen. And he was their #1 pick, you know, that was their #1 starter. So they realized they had to do it pitching wise because they have some good young offensive bats. And their bullpen seems to be strong. They have good arms coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, we saw Kelvin Herrera pitching in that WBC. He's a good arm in that pen.
We're going to get a good look at Kansas City throughout the course of the year. 18 ball games with them. So. If I'm not mistaken, it'll be our second road trip. Catch them on the long end.
Here's a look at Kansas City in the offseason.
Look
Shields,
at that,
Wade
3
Davis,
starting pitchers.
Santana.
Yeah, Santana coming up signing. They got 3 starters going in there. And then, of course, they had to trade Will Myers, the #1 prospect out in the minor league. Soria signed with Texas. He was their closer and hurt. And Odorizzi, Jake.
I think Greg Holland takes over as the closer now. Another hard thrower in that bullpen.
And you know, they have some good arms coming out of there too.
Yeah, Herrera, Tim Collins, the left-hander.
Tiny Tom Collins, the lefty.
He was in the WBC.
Was he?
Pitching for Team USA. Aaron Crow, another hard thrower. Missed outside, 2-1. The night appears to be over for Justin Masterson as the Indians have activity in their bullpen. Charlie Nagy, meanwhile, his bullpen is silent as Corbin pitches with 2 outs and a runner aboard here in the 5th, leading 5-2. Warren chopper to third. Tian goes to second for the inning-ending force. 5 complete from Goodyear. The Diamondbacks 5 and the Indians 2. Justin Masterson, his night is over. He went 5 innings tonight. He allowed 5 runs on 4 hits, but only 1 earned run. A couple of errors defensively, one by Asdrubal Cabrera won by Lonnie Chisenhall. Cost him some unearned runs tonight. Here is Jerry Gill. Gill is 30 years old. He's a former position player converted to a pitcher. But the Indians like his arm. I feel like he could certainly give them some depth, bullpen help if needed. I mean, Rick, he played almost 9 full seasons before converting to a pitcher.
Well, then he must have been able to hit for a while there, huh?
Well, let's see. Early on in his career, he hit as much as 259, 278, 269.
I mean, you play that long, usually.
That's a fair ball down the line into the corner. Stubbs able to cut it off before it rattled into the corner, but not before Martin has his 3rd hit of the night.
This one right over the bag, and it's a fastball right there. Tried to get me over a fastball, and Tien was ready for it.
It must have hit something on that sidewall, because right there it looks like it's going all the way into the corner.
Yeah, it did. It had to catch the wall. Absolutely.
Must have kicked out. But he's still able to get to second with the leadoff double, and now Cliff Pennington. Swung on and missed. Tell you what's interesting about Jerry Gill, Rick, is that in 2006 he had one of his best years in the minor leagues. In 126 games, AA, AAA combined, he had 256. He had 28 doubles, 27 home runs, drove in 89 runs, and that ball's down the line. It's going to drop fair, and that's going to bring home Mark Tien. So Cliff Pennington with an RBI double and back-to-back 2-baggers here in the 6th for the Diamondbacks, and they increase their lead to 6-2.
I don't know if he wanted to hit this ball or he wanted to check his swing or what he wanted to do with it, but watch the follow-through. It's up and away, and it's almost like, uh-oh, I didn't want to swing. But he kept it fair. A lot of times that ball will slice foul. That one stayed fair on 2/3 of his swing. Very good. He will get a double, so they'll trade places. So in comes Mark Tien. Second base goes Cliff Pennington, and they have a 6-2 lead.
Back in 06, Gill, those numbers that I mentioned he put up as an outfielder, even though primarily he had been a shortstop before that. The next year, blew out his elbow, had needed Tommy John surgery. And then after that, when he came back, that's when he converted to a pitcher.
No kidding. You got to go have Tommy John surgery before you can start pitching. Huh? Put the new ligament in there.
But you wonder, though, if going from primarily a shortstop to suddenly going to the outfield, if that's what cost him the elbow injury that made Tommy John necessary. And then after he had the elbow surgery, he came back in 08. Made his first career appearance as a pitcher in just 10 games. And then in 09, his first full season, made 14 starts, 22 relief appearances. And he's continued to chip away ever since. But you have to give this guy credit. He's overcome a lot in his career, because in addition to the Tommy John surgery, he's had a couple of knee surgeries. So he is nothing if not extremely determined. Up in the air, center field, Bourne.
Well, get the job done.
Make the grab. Tagging and coming home is Chris Pennington. And it's 7-2 Arizona. Gerardo Parra with his third RBI of the night. 15 RBIs on the spring. Gill with a 1-1. A little bit low. Missed inside. 3 balls and a strike. There's a strike called, full count. A.J. Pollock is walked, flied out, struck out tonight. Marte to hit for Jason Kubel next, if Pollock keeps the inning alive. Hard hit ground ball to short, and the dribble Cabrera will throw him out to end the inning. Diamondbacks tack on 2 more, middle of the 6th. Arizona 7, Cleveland 2. Seven 7-2 Arizona on top. Bottom of the 6th inning. Patrick Corbin, his night is over as a starter for Arizona. He went 5 innings, allowing 2 runs on 3 hits, walked 3, struck out 4. And now right-hander David Hernandez will come on and work for Arizona.
Right-handed power reliever. Good fastball, good curveball as well. 2 and 3. Had 25 holds last year. You can see 98 strikeouts in 68 in the 3rd inning. So that tells you he has a live fastball. Opponents hit just a $190 from him, and that was one of the moves Kevin Towers made when he first took over trying to rebuild that bullpen. We got
Alfredo Marte is now taking over for Jason Kubel in left field. As Dribble Cabrera fouls it back out of play. Been a rough spring for David Hernandez, though. This is his 5th appearance in 4 games. He's worked 4 innings. He's given up 4 runs on 4 hits.
4s are wild.
He has struck out 5 and walked just 1. That's clobbered. In the gap. Pollock, a long run. He won't get it. Short hops the fence. And into second base with a leadoff double is Asdrubal Cabrera.
Yeah, he put a good swing on the baseball. Drove it to left center field. Hernandez got a fastball. Looks like it was up a little bit. Out over the plate. Stayed on it nicely. Timed it and just look at the follow through. Short hops the wall. So a leadoff double. See if the Indians can come back and string together a few hits. It's only their 4th hit tonight. Yeah, they're 4th.
1 on the 1st, 1 on the 3rd, 1 on the 4th, and now 1 here in the 6th. Their first extra base hit of the contest. Michael Brantley drove in the only runs for the Tribe in the 3rd with a 2-out, 2-run single to center field.
Well, it was the inning where Corbin had a tough time throwing strikes. He finally comes out and starts to hit her off first pitch fastball, and Brantley was waiting for it. And drove in a pair. That came back in the 3rd inning.
Michael, 9 runs batted in on the spring. One on 1 to count. Right at the shortstop. Pennington throws out Brantley, 1 away.
Well, the Indians are rolling back prices on your favorite ballpark food for every game at Progressive Field this year. You can get $4 12-ounce domestic beer, $3 hot dogs, $2 soda refills, and also they will have on 15 different occasions $1 hot dog nights, not to mention the low prices on nachos, pretzels, popcorn, and more.
The attendance tonight, 8,016 here in Goodyear.
They're going to hang around for the fireworks. Now, I've never seen a fireworks show out here in Arizona, but it can't come close to the ones in Cleveland. I know that.
They had a doozy here last week when they played the San Francisco Giants in the night.
Sold out, didn't they? 11,000 people for that game.
One, yeah.
I'd be afraid to throw, you get fireworks going on out here. You may start a fire.
Swisher, hard ground ball, just foul. First base center. Barajas with a good block keeps Cabrera at 3rd. There's Josh Colmenter warming up in the Arizona bullpen already. A little bit inside. He missed 2-2. Checked. It was low and a full count. So good at bat for Nick Swisher here. Carlos Santana waiting on deck. Cabrera, the runner at 3rd base. One gone here in the 6th. Ball 4. 2 on now for Santana, who is 0 for 2 on the night. Charles Nagy has Josh Colemanter up warming in the bullpen.
Got a pinch runner over there for Nick Swisher too.
Chris McGinnis, I believe, is the new runner. He'll take over at first base for Swisher. And now Santana takes aim. And that's low, ball 1.
Well, Hernandez, not the way you want to do it. He's not missing by much, but certainly want to make him swing the bat in a 7-2 ball game. But he walks Swisher. The patience of Swisher. Now Santana with a hitter's count.
Well, you're also seeing too, Rick, that this is an Indians team this year with this new look lineup, that even when they're behind in games, they've got some sticks, they've got some firepower. So they're, last year, I hate to say it, there were games where you just said, whew, they're out of it already.
Yeah, you fall behind early and you knew they didn't have a chance to come back.
But you're not going to get behind by 5 runs and win regularly.
No, but rarely.
But this is a team now that, you're not going to just say, all right, just, if you're the opposing pitcher, all I have to do is go out there,
fold up the tents and move on.
Throw it over the plate. And, this game's in the bag. That won't be the case.
Well, anytime they want to give you base runners and they want to help you out, you have to take them and just keep it moving along. You can't do it all at once, but they have an opportunity where they can hit a 3-run homer and get back into a game in a hurry, at least a lot quicker than last year.
Santana was trying to put a 3-pointer on the board, but Hernandez reared back and threw it by him. Runs the count full. Just above the hitting zone.
You know what?
Maybe.
He took a pitch away that was up, and I thought it was a good job, but that one was in a little more, and it looked a lot better, and he went after it, and it was up just a hair. It was up above the hitting line. I know that.
Payoff pitch. Chopped in the hole. Wilson goes to second. They'll get the force there. The run scores from third. 2 down. It's a 7-3 ball game. Santana gets his 6th RBI on the spring. And it will bring up Mark Reynolds, who is 0 for 2 on the night. Reynolds bounced to first his first time up, fouled out his last trip to the plate. Mark Reynolds was one of the few standout stars for the Diamondbacks when he played here earlier in his career, but he suffered through a couple of rough years. They were in last place in back-to-back years in the NL West. He hammers this one deep, and it might go all the way to Phoenix. Over the scoreboard, and long gone for Mark Reynolds. The former D-back with a blast here in the 6th inning. 3 runs on the board for the Indians here in the 6th, as they try to close the gap on Arizona.
You won't see any hit any farther than that. He has unbelievable power, and right there he matched up with a fastball, and he won it. Look at that, a fastball belled high, and as soon as it left his bat, I mean, that ball jumped and it went over the scoreboard, folks. That's deep into the night. Wow. Well, that makes it a 7-5 game. So there you have it. There you go. One quick swing, 2 quick runs, 7-5. A long way to go.
That's beautiful.
How about earlier tonight when you and I and Max joined us down there on the lower fields for batting practice? Watching Reynolds just take balls and flick them opposite field and drive them out of there. I mean, it didn't even look like he was trying, and the ball was just flying out.
He said when he got into the cage, he said, high cuts today, fellas, high cuts. He meant high cut shots like he was a golfer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was hitting a ball was blowing out. The wind was blowing out, you know, back on the field they were hitting. And he was hitting balls to right field. And, I mean, hitting them high and hitting them deep. But he turned on that one. That was a fastball right in his alley.
And just
look
as
at Swish, he wants to say that was pretty far. He's done for the night.
And just like what we were talking about a few moments ago, he hits a 2-run bomb. It's a 3-run inning. All of a sudden, a 7-2 game is now a 7-5 game.
Yeah, and you're in what, the 6th inning here.
Yeah.
So you got a long way to go.
Lonnie Chisenhall walked and scored in the 3rd, fouled out his last time up. Fouled the other way.
Look at Carlos. I knew it was him talking in the dugout. We missed him. He's back from the WBC too. We should have had his face on the screen. Look at, he loves home runs. He was over there talking with him. Hey, Poppy.
Carlos is over there talking to Sandy Alomar now.
He's talking to anybody that'll listen. Everybody's walking away from him when he's walking down.
Baerga and Sandy are commiserating, saying, hey, we used to have some guys that could hit him that far back in our day.
Well,
he's still talking about that home run, saying over to the scoreboard.
Look at, that's what I'm telling you.
It's been a rough inning for David Hernandez, and Charlie Nagy, I don't know if he's going to go out or if he's just inching towards the top step of the dugout on the Arizona side as Baerga and Sandy continue to talk about that home run hit by Mark Reynolds.
Look, he's saying, Carlos, what are you looking at? Now those two are fighting about it.
That was a long way, boys.
Hey, it counted for 2. Could have hit the yellow line and went over. It still counts.
Avila's a hard shot to short. Pennington goes to second for the inning-ending force. But Mark Reynolds with a little home run ball here in Goodyear. It's a 2-run game after 6. Tomorrow, Sports Time Ohio has the best matchups of the year in boys high school basketball. All 4 state title games starting at 10:30 a.m. and running throughout the day. Don't miss one single minute of the boys championship games right here tomorrow on Sports Time Ohio.
Is that Swishalicious, the basketball? Yeah.
It could be Swishalicious. Yes, that's good. I like it. I'm still trying to figure out Kickalicious.
Now, yeah, that's what I said. That was for football, so I'm thinking that's Swishalicious.
Alfredo Marte will lead off the 7th inning for Arizona. The Indians trail by 2 runs. All sorts of changes to tell you about defensively for the Tribe when we have a moment. If I'm not mistaken, I think they've changed everybody but Drew Stubbs. So almost an entirely new defensive alignment for the Indians. Meantime, Alfredo Marte looks at the ball down low, 1-1.
You know what I like?
Up and away. Rook foul, third base side.
I see a lefty that's warming up. I thought he was going to come in. He was warming up last inning. I think that's Nick Hagedorn.
Hagedorn getting loose. Swung on and missed, and he nicked Girolamo on the follow through, did Marte, but that's a strikeout, 1 away. All right, let's take a look at the Indians defense now. Matt Carson is in left field, Ezekiel Carrera in center, and Stubbs stays in the game in right field. Matt Lawson is now the third baseman. Luis Hernandez at short, Ryan Rollinger at second, Chris McGinnis at first, and Brian Girolamo behind the plate. That's fouled back out of play. Ryan Rollinger, the second baseman, he's a guy I don't think we've seen in a game yet this year, Rick, but he's a guy who signed as a minor league free agent with the Indians in the offseason. He has a little big league time with the San Francisco Giants. I think I said he signed in the offseason. He signed with the Indians last offseason, so he spent last year at Akron. Got a little bit of time with Columbus. High pop, foul ground near the dugout.
Be in the seats. Oh, and to give that fan an air, brought a glove first row right behind the dugout.
He's here in the Bluebirds too.
He should. There he is. He's look at him. Are you kidding me, honey? And you brought your glove for that? It's. Uh-oh. Now the excuse comes.
He's talking to her like he'd be talking to his manager. I don't know. I lost in the lights.
Yeah.
What are you gonna
She
do?
says you're out of the ball game. She already replaced him.
She's saying you didn't even get leather on it.
You're out of here. You don't bring the ball home, you got to go.
Jerry Gill with a couple of strikeouts here in the 7th inning as he fans Marte and now Goldschmidt. And that's going to be it for Jerry Gill.
He's still trying.
He's got no sympathy. He's got nobody taking his side here. Jerry Gill is exiting. Nick Hagedorn is coming on when we come back. Rick, break this down for us.
We're going to get another chance. You bring the glove to the game, you get your one chance. He's by himself, no one in his way. It hits him in the hand. The other hand that he had the glove on, hit him in the right hand. That's embarrassing. Look at it. Now he's got to take abuse. What are you kidding me? The ball it can't take a bad hop in the air. It can't take a bad bounce. There's no excuse. He needs a lot more work. We are going to send him out tonight.
He might need an Indians fantasy camp to get him ready.
Oh yeah. No, look at he's really dejected. I mean, that ruined his night.
He's wearing it. He's wearing it bad.
He will not recover before he's got to go to work.
Eric Hensky, a fly ball to center field. Ezekiel Carrera, and the inning is over. Stretch time in Goodyear. The Diamondbacks 7, the Indians 5. Sunday, NASCAR heads back west for the Auto Club 400 presented by Coca-Cola, where Daytona 500 champion Jimmy Johnson will look for his 6th career victory in his home state, while defending champion Tony Stewart tries to defend his title. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of the Auto Club 400 presented by Coca-Cola begins Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Time.
Oh, boy.
7-5 Diamondbacks, bottom of the 7th inning. Another new pitcher for Arizona. I believe this is Josh Colementor, and it is. Colementor last year made 11 starts. Very respectable 5-3, 3.69 ERA. Almost an entirely new defense behind him.
You know, you see this. We saw it yesterday when your National League team, American League teams, they go for 5 or 6 innings and then everybody else fills in.
Drew Stubbs fouling it back out of play.
This is where we need our spotters. Max, you're on board, pal. You write down all those names for your dad and I.
There's a fly ball to right field. Well, that guy right there is the most appropriate name on the field. We had enchiladas and tacos before the game. That's Socrates Burrito in right field.
Okay.
Although I believe his name is spelled B-R-I-T-O. When they first told me the name, it sounded like burrito, but it's Burrito. Socrates Burrito. And we've got Evan Marzilli now in center field. Alfredo Marte is in left. And Max keeps
there he
writing
is.
them
Max,
down.
look at. See, look at the monitor. Wave to all your people back home. You know they're watching. No, they're in bed by now. It's 12:30. 3 hours difference, pal.
Big John Griffin is at first base. Who's that behind the plate now? That's Tuffy Goswitch.
They're bringing the all-name team with them on the road for a Friday night.
Hit off the end of the bat, foul, and it will stay foul. Missed inside. Colementor fires and Carrera takes inside again, full count. Popped in the air again. It's Socrates Burrito, but he'll give way to the center fielder. Then Marzilli who makes the catch. Joe Smith now loosening in the Tribe bullpen. All right, here's a look at that entire defense. Mark Ahmed is at second base. Tyler Bortnick is at second. I think we've talked about just about everybody else. Jacob Lamb at third. Luis Hernandez looks at the ball down low. Right back to the screen. A little bit high, just above the strike zone. Back to the screen. By the way, the young man at second base right now for Arizona, Tyler Bortnick, he was born in Menor, Ohio, and played high school baseball for the Menor Cardinals. And then Tyler Bortnick, the second baseman, went on to Coastal Carolina down in South Carolina. Was originally a 16th round pick of the Tampa Bay Rays. Comenter retires the Tribe in the 7th. 7-5 Arizona. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Arizona on top 7-5, 8th inning. Joe Smith now on to pitch for the Indians.
Joe coming out for back-to-back games here at spring training, which you have to do and get yourself ready.
High chopper off the plate.
And a high chopper off the infield. That ball took off. That's one thing you can see down here. I don't care if it's nighttime or not, but the infields can be hard. I don't know if he would have even had a chance to make it. It was so high. The old Baltimore chop coming up. He would have probably had to field it barehanded and get rid of it. You know, you could see that ball just hit and took off it like it was a hard rubber ball. Goes in single.
In there for a strike. Carlos Moncrief now in the ball game in right field. Mark Ahmed bangs that off his foot. Joe Smith fires and Ahmed fouling it back. Socrates Brito, the runner at first base. side.
Well, a couple of fastballs. The one he just tipped late to foul off, and then Smithy comes back inside. See if he sees a breaking ball away here. Yeah, breaking ball.
Takes
Timed
care
up
of
his
him.
fastball.
One away.
Well, Justin Masterson, he stepped down. They had good movement. And I'll tell you what, the errors really hurt him in this ball game. A play should have been made at least for an out there. But he had good stuff. He had good movement on his pitches. And here's another one that ends up hurting him. He picked it nicely, but just they couldn't end up getting the out there. A couple of runs come around to score, so it hurt him a little bit with the extra outs. But I like the movement. He'll have one more start to go to tune it up before opening day.
Really jammed him with that pitch. And you could see Griffin as he started to swing. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't.
Well, Joe Smith can tie up some right-handers, especially if you've never faced him before. It may take you a few pitches just to figure out where he's throwing it from.
A little bit inside off the plate, 1-2. One on, one out here in the 8th. Arizona on top 7-5. John Griffin chops it to short. Could be 2 here. Hernandez to Rollinger on to first. An inning-ending double play. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. 7-5 Arizona.
All right, join all the excitement at Progressive Field this year with the season ticket package. Gives you access to the best seats at the lowest prices. A full season ticket package. Guaranteed that first game against the Yankees April 8th. Log on to Indians.com.
Things have calmed down here. No changes this half inning.
There's nobody left. They took everybody out.
Josh Colmenter back out there for a second inning of work. Matt Carson, his first at bat. He went around 1-1. There's a high pop. Right side foul ground. And it drops. I don't know if that was straight communication problem or if the second baseman Bortnick called for it and then just couldn't make the play.
It looked like he might have called him off because the big guy at first was going after it, and then it looked like he peeled off. You know, the ball has a tendency to come back. You see, he heard him, and I'll bet he called for it, and he didn't realize where it was. He heard something, so he left.
Yeah, it looked like Bortnick called for it, and then
yes, and wasn't in the right position to catch it.
Yes.
So Carson with another chance, but he strikes out. One down. Second K for Colementor. Let's go back to the 6th inning. Mark Reynolds at the plate, and I mean just tees off over the scoreboard. Lands on that concourse behind the scoreboard and bounced almost into the concession stand.
Yeah, that's one they'll talk about for a long time. That was deep into the night. Weren't you traveling with the team when they went to Venezuela? And Russell Branyan hit one.
That was back
over there.
2001, believe it or not.
Was it? I mean, I didn't make that trip, and I know you guys were over there doing it, and they still talk about it to this day.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Rick, in all seriousness, that home run Reynolds hit is probably as impressive as the one that Russell hit.
It couldn't be any farther. I know that. That's about as far as you can hit them. It went over that scoreboard.
Yeah, what Russell's home run did was it was to right field, and they had a kind of like Old County Stadium in Milwaukee.
Right.
They had just a little bleacher section that went straight up about I don't know how many rows, 25 rows or so, and it cleared the top row and went out of the stadium. Broken bat blooper. It drops a base hit for Chris McGinnis. And he's aboard with one out here in the 8th inning.
Lost the bat, but got a hit. And I mean, that's shattered, but it was placed beautiful between the infielder and the outfielder. Good fastball in there. You see he's holding that bat weighs about 17 ounces now. But he gets aboard, brings a tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning.
Brian Girolman coming up. His first at bat of the night. And Girolman lifts one high in the air, left field. Alfredo Marte makes the catch, 2 down.
Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium and watch over 150 select spring training games live, plus every regular season game live on demand or over 250 mobile and connected devices. Visit Indians.com.
First at bat of the night for Cord Phelps. He took over in that DH spot for Mark Reynolds. Spring training or not, Rick, you hit a home run like Reynolds hit tonight. You can't help but go to your car feeling a little more pumped up than when you got here
as
today.
many as he's hit. And,
Still,
he's
that
hit
was
40-some. He's just opening some eyes up, and he did it against his former teammates. But guys over there, I don't know how many guys are even left from when
he says not
there.
many. He said there's only a couple of guys left from when he was with the Diamondbacks.
Well, it's impressive. I don't care who you hit it against. It went a long way, but they're still 2 run down. He brought them, within 2.
Phelps yanks it to right field, a base hit. Girolman will stop at second. And the Indians have 2 on with 2 out.
Cord Phelps has swung the bat very well this spring for the times I've had a chance to see him. Both sides of the plate, he's hit that ball with authority. Now the tying runs are on base.
So 2 on, 2 out. Matt Lawson steps up. His first at bat of the night. And Lawson taking ball 1. Lawson came to the Indians from the Mariners in exchange for Aaron Laffey. It was 2 years ago in a spring training trade. Last year really came into his own. Lawson hit .327 in his second year with the Akron Arrows. And fouled on the left side. Lawson hails from Springfield, Missouri. Isn't that where our buddy
Scotty Bales lives? When you said Springfield, that's the first picture that popped into my mind, unfortunately, was Scott Bales.
Oh, boy.
Yes, he is.
I still think of the look on Mike Shannon's face in St. Louis last year when Scotty knocked over that glass of wine and all over Mike Shannon.
Oh, overdoing his radio show. Yeah, in St. Louis, right.
Scotty got to talking with his hands, and the next thing you know, the wine glass went end over end. The wine went all over Mike Shannon.
That's the last time he'll be invited back.
Oh, boy. Two on, 2 out. Tribe down 2, bottom of the 8th. Broken bat bouncer up the middle. The shortstop, man, will go to first. Close play. And he got him to end the inning. We'll go to the 9th in Goodyear. 7-5 Arizona. Ninth inning, 7-5 Arizona. And the Indians will go back to their bullpen. 5th pitcher to work tonight is left-hander Rich Hill. And last year in 25 appearances with Boston, very effective. 19 2/3 innings, a 1.83 ERA. And the Indians feel that Rich Hill can be a matchup left-hander for them this year. So he'll get an opportunity to do just that. Tuffy Goswitch will bat for Arizona to lead off the inning. And it's down low, ball one.
Well, Hill, a guy that has always pitched well in his career against lefties. You'd like to see him see a couple here, but in turn, it doesn't matter. Ouch, got him.
So the leadoff man aboard for Arizona. He went up and in and
yeah, and then he felt they had to go back in there again. He turns out of the way. It still catches him up around the shoulder blade.
Rich Hill was a non-roster invitee. Signed a minor league contract back February 7th. Before that hit batter, he had retired the last 7 hitters that he had faced. Scoreless in 7 spring outings. Rich Hill was originally a 4th-round pick of the Chicago Cubs back in 2002. You saw the limited number of appearances that he had a season ago, and that was due to the fact that he was coming back from Tommy John surgery. Center. Carlos Moncrief runs it down. 1 away.
Center fielder, Evan Marzilli.
There's Evan Marzilli. His first at bat of the night. Late swing. Down low with it.
Well, you can see why lefties may have a tough time with Hill, the way he falls off to the first base side of the mound, and that momentum goes that way. And doesn't give you much to look at. You don't pick up the baseball because it's almost like a short arm back behind him. It's back behind his jersey, and then the next thing you know, it's on you. It's not that he throws that hard. It's just tough to pick up.
Two balls and 2 strikes. And he strikes him out. 2 down.
Took something off and then made it a little slower, put a little more tilt to it, has him out front, put it in a great spot. He gets him to swing at a pitch out of the strike zone, and that's what the left-handers do, and they do well.
Alfredo Marte, 0 for 1, struck out his only time up tonight. And that's a little bit inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now the Arizona Diamondbacks jumped on the Tribe early tonight with 3 runs in the 2nd inning. And they built their lead to 7-2 before Mark Reynolds' 2-run homer in the 6th closed the gap to 7-5. But that's as close as the Indians have been able to get. Stays that way here in the 9th. Runner goes. Pitch is, I guess it was low. Throw down a second, not in time. Well, it was very close to being strike 3.
Yeah, I don't know if he blocked him out or not, but he took off and first movement and it's down.
It was low.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give a stolen base there, so you get another runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
That's strike 3 and the inning is over. So a good inning of work for Rich Hill. Couple of strikeouts, and we'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Indians down 7-5. Arizona leading the Indians 7-5 as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. How about Josh Colmenter on for a 3rd inning, trying to close it out for Arizona. Ryan Rollinger will lead off for Cleveland. Looks at ball 1 outside. Ball to strike, 1-1 to count. We have just been informed that if the Indians were to tie this game, there will not be a 10th inning. So this is it right here. The 1-2 up high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Colmenter delivers and it's fouled right back. Josh Colmenter was a 15th round pick of the Diamondbacks back in 07. Brito makes the catch, and Ryan Rollinger is out number 1 here in the bottom of the 9th. That's going to bring up Carlos Moncrief. Carlos Moncrief homered once every 23.5 at bats last year, 4th best ratio in the Carolina League. And well acquainted with Arizona after his Carolina League season ended. Played for the Scottsdale Scorpions in the Arizona Fall League. Foul. Carlos Moncrief, unlike the guy we saw earlier in the game, started his career as a pitcher and then converted to a position player, going to the outfield.
Must have been a really good hitting pitcher.
Jerry Gill, who we saw pitch earlier,
started as a shortstop.
Other way around,
right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's the amazing thing about scouts, and we see them all the time and talk to them. How they can project some guys. They just look at him and say, I think this guy might be able to pitch, even though he's a position player. And the other way around, a guy with a good arm or a good athlete or can swing the bat.
Got some interesting numbers too to run by you here. Broke to center field, a base hit.
Well, there's an interesting thing that just ran by Coleman, man.
He's got a nice swing. There's
Yes,
no question
he does.
about that. We've seen him swing the bat in some games already this spring.
This one goes buzzing by his head, right down there, low and away fastball, right back where it came from. Okay, tying run coming to the plate. But go ahead, let me hear your numbers.
He was at the Arizona League.
Right.
His last year as a pitcher, and he only spent 2 years before they converted him. But in that last year, in 27 2/3 innings, he struck out 39 batters. He only walked 12, but he gave up 30 hits, 20 earned runs. Popped up on the infield. Ezekiel Carrera is out number 2. So it's not like this guy was throwing it all over the backstop and
all over the
bouncing it.
place.
But, I mean, somebody said, you know, this guy's got a pretty good arm, and I've seen him hit the cage. You might want to think about moving him to the outfield.
Well, you come on, he puts up a good at bat, at least from what we've seen.
Tying run at the plate, Luis Hernandez with 2 down, bottom of the 9th. Josh Coleman, 2 2/3 innings of scoreless relief, trying to finish it off for Arizona. Just a reminder, our next telecast comes your way Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern time, when the Indians host the Chicago Cubs here at Goodyear. Off the outside corner. Getting down to the nitty-gritty, though. Last week of spring training baseball. Next week, and then we'll be ready to open the regular season in Toronto. Hernandez taking good breaking ball in for a strike. Then a count 1-2. Brito to end the game. Nice job by Josh Coleman. He goes 3 scoreless innings to get the save for Arizona as they hang on to beat the Indians by a final score tonight of 7-5. And with that win, Arizona now 500 on the spring at 13-13 with a couple of ties. Terry Francona and the Indians are now 15-10 with 2 ties on the spring. Nice crowd of over 8,000 tonight here in Goodyear. And for the Indians, the night highlighted by Mark Reynolds and one of the most mammoth home runs of the spring. A drive to left that cleared the scoreboard. But the Indians fall short by a final tally of 7-5. Final thoughts?
Well, you know, a game that we were looking at #1 Masterson starting the ball game. Errors hurt him, you know, in the long haul. Extra outs came back to haunt him, but he did have some good stuff. One more tune-up to go. And, yeah, Reynolds, that shot by him, that was fun to see.
So our next telecast will come your way Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern time, when the Indians play host to the Chicago Cubs here in Goodyear. Tonight's final score, the Arizona Diamondbacks 7, the Cleveland Indians 5. For Rick Manning, I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you Sunday afternoon here in Goodyear.